day, Facebook. It's your boy Warren L. Booker Jr. I am so happy to be able to do tonight's podcast because, to be truthful, I was a little bit fearful because Laura is moving through here, but she's not being as rough as we were thinking, at least at this point, because I know that here in my area, my neighborhood, my subdivision, whatever you want to call it, if God sneezes too hard, then our lights are out. So I was unsure about tonight's episode. However, God has spared our lights, so we're going to go ahead and proceed with the potluck. And again, I thank you so much for tuning in. I see my sister Sharonda's here, Jesse is here, Miss Threadgill Williams is here, Roxanne is here. So thank you all so much for tuning in. There are a few others. And I just want to thank you for taking out the time for tuning in with me, because I do realize you could be doing other things. At this moment, I'd like to pause before we begin our show. It's rather unfortunate that the class of 1999 at Pine Bluff High School has lost yet another classmate. That makes number 4 since our 20th year reunion, class reunion, and it hasn't even been a year yet. I think this weekend will make a year. So I want to pause at this time for our classmate, Mr. Lorendale Randy Carter, whose life was ended in a car wreck at the beginning of this week. So let's just take a moment of silence to honor his life and legacy. And again, Randy, we will miss you. We love you, and we appreciate the enthusiasm that you had for your class. Alrighty, so we're going to move on with this week's episode of the Potluck. And of course, you know, at the Potluck, we kind of have, sometimes people bring dishes that go together and sometimes not. So we're going to move through this. We're going to move through it quite expeditiously. Alrighty, so our appetizer for this evening is most of the world will make decisions by either guessing or using their gut. They will be either lucky or wrong. And I felt that very befitting because we're going to talk about some statistics. We've been hearing about data as it relates to the coronavirus. And I mean, pretty much everything is determined by data. And truthfully, sometimes things just do not make sense. I really believe that sometimes people need what the older people call mother wit or common sense, because it's some educated people making some crazy decisions. All right, so the book of Kabbalah for today is we rely on data, which should be scientific, but it seems like they are guessing or not just using their brain, or just not using their brain. Besides, a hypothesis is just an educated guess. And in my mind, it should make sense. However, but I am questioning the educated people's ability to make sound decisions in this particular climate, because I have seen a lot of educated people making some decisions that just do not make sense. All right, so our featured menu items for today are as follows: the updated CDC guidelines, personal grace and mercy, and soda can hygiene. I don't think Booker Reed talking about. I will explain. So we'll start off with our first point. The CDC. We need to talk about them. And I will say this. Xscape song, I think, Who Can I Run To? Billie Holiday's song of Strange Fruit. Shirley Caesar wanted us to hold her mule. And Smokey Robinson told the Lord, I need you now. And Johnny Taylor told the lady, don't spend her last $2. And the CDC is telling us that just because a person may be asymptomatic and you've come in contact with them, that doesn't mean that you need to get tested. So what better way than to hear from them? You can hear from the horse's mouth. Here goes.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm not just going to say what. I'm going to say what the, and I'm going to let you fill in the blank. This is ridiculous. The CDC used to say if you've had close contact with someone with coronavirus, meaning within 6 feet of them for 15 minutes or more, you should get tested. Now they're saying you should consider getting tested, but you might not need to unless you're a vulnerable person, which usually means older or have an underlying health condition, or your doctor or local public health official tells you to. What? People who are exposed to someone with coronavirus should get tested. Experts will tell you that that is the case. Why wouldn't you want to get tested? And this kind of back and forth with very subtle language where you have to click on 3 different places to figure out what they mean is crazy making. It is not public health communication. It is clearly pressure from some force in some way. If you want to communicate clearly to the American public, the CDC knows how to do that. They do that for a living. They are not doing it here, and there must be a reason for it.
And to be clear, the people that this would leave out and the place that this would abandon in terms of the spread of this pandemic is asymptomatic people. Because what it's saying is, unless you get symptoms, you don't necessarily need to go get tested. Well, if you've been near someone who was sick and you aren't showing symptoms, you could be that asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic person that we know is such a key player in the spread here, and it would just leave that person out.
Exactly. What this change does is it actually encourages the spread of COVID, because it's saying, oh, if you don't have symptoms, you don't need to worry about this so much. I mean, obviously it doesn't say it in those words, but essentially that's what it's saying. If you don't have symptoms, you don't really need to get tested. What they've done is they've given permission to that person to just kind of go out there and keep spreading it. This is ridiculous. If I have been within 6 feet of someone for 15 minutes or more who is now known to have COVID, of course I'm going to get myself tested. Why wouldn't I?
What is Dr. Redfield saying about this, the director of the CDC?
I don't know that we've heard him come out and say anything specifically. This was a change. I mean, we might have, but I haven't heard that. This is a change that was made on the website that is so subtle and wasn't alerted, so we sort of had to discover it on our own. It's the kind of thing, again, crazy making. The language is subtly changed. Americans aren't going to get this. You have to have sort of a team of scholars pour over it as if it were a biblical passage to figure out what they're trying to say. This wasn't heralded in any way.
I will say 1,200 people dead in the last 24 hours reported in a policy that may lead to fewer tests and fewer known cases. Ask yourself why.
Okay, there you have it. You heard it from them. And my thing as it relates to this is that they're constantly changing the rules. It's constantly changing. I really feel as if this is being made out to be political. We do know that there's voting that's taking place in November. We know that the person that's currently occupying the White House is blaming it on or saying that this is their opponent's world. But yet it's, this is basically your world that you've created for the last, might as well say, 4 years. So don't try to blame it on someone else. I don't know who to trust. If people are constantly changing your mind, I've always been warned to be mindful, be careful with a double-minded person. And yet and still, we're told to support, or to believe rather, or to trust these individuals that constantly are changing their mind, constantly changing the rules. Some of the same people that were some of the lead people in the Tuskegee experiment. So it's just kind of like the rules constantly change. What do you do? And I would just challenge you to exercise common sense, because unfortunately our country can't be trusted. Look at how we got here. Alrighty, so moving on to the next one. And what are your thoughts about that with the CDC changing the rules? You can put those in the comments and I will identify those as we go. And that's right, Marceline, people better use common sense. And if they don't have common sense, because people say it's not so common, they better act like it. Act like you have common sense. Let's see here. Roxanne said that the CDC guidelines are so confusing and seemingly heartless. And I would agree. And of course, I saw this morning on Good Morning America, whereas Dr. Fauci, which I don't have all my trust in him either, because he kind of seems to go which way or the other, and I'm not quite sure of his participation in this particular pandemic. However, he wasn't aware. He was allegedly having surgery when this happened, and then these decisions were made. Marceline said he ordered the hospital to stop reporting deaths to the CDC. Exactly. Yeah, and it's called a lie. It definitely is a lie. And we do, Marceline, have to think for ourselves. We have to think for ourselves and not put our lives in the hands of people that show that they are definitely not worthy and that they don't care about it. So yeah, thank you all so much for your input as it relates to that. We do have to think for ourselves, and yes, that's what we have to do. Okay, moving on to our next dish, and of course, if you have something that you like to share, the second topic is personal grace and mercy. You know, I've grown up hearing the song "Your Grace and Mercy brought me through," and as it relates to God, yes, He has given us grace. He has given us mercy, time and time and time again. Unmerited favor, just showing favor towards us that we're unworthy of. Actually, not even allowing us to go through some of the things that we probably deserve. Hey, how you doing, Moya? How you doing, Mr. Gibbs? Let's see here. So I grew up hearing that, and actually in some of my therapy sessions, it was derived to the point that I'm very hard on myself, and I personally strive to be perfect. And I know that that's not possible, but I still strive for it because I've been told, you know, if you shoot for the moon, and if you fail, you'll be among the stars. So it's just like I don't have a 50%. It's either 0 or 100. But sometimes I feel as if we are too hard on ourselves, and it can make us be in a state of mind that is not good, or it could cause undue stress. I really feel like sometimes we hold ourselves to standards that are too high, unattainable sometimes. And also, the world that we live in, we are forced to sometimes reach, or be forced to reach, or asked to reach unrealistic expectations. And when we think about that, for one, we must be fair to ourselves. And if something is unrealistic, un means not, and real means real. But if it's unrealistic, that means it's not real. For example, if someone was giving me the directive to go outside and drink all of the water that Hurricane Laura has rained down in Arkansas, it's not possible. However, sometimes the world, sometimes our jobs hold us to standards that are unrealistic like that. It's just not possible. It just does not make sense. But yet and still, we're stressed and we're worried, and some people are drinking or taking drugs or smoking or just living a life on the edge because they are trying to reach unrealistic expectations. But people, means not. So it's not real. I'm not saying don't hold yourself to a high standard. I'm not saying don't give it your all. What I'm saying, do the best that you can. Do the best that you can. And once you've done that, you left it all on the stage. God will do the rest. If you've done the best that you can, that's it. We must give ourselves some grace. And I'm not talking about the grace of a person being gracefully. I'm talking about give yourself some leeway. Don't condemn yourself so bad. Give yourself some mercy. You're not perfect. You're going to fail. I even find myself sometimes the first trying to do something, I want to be the master of it. And that's not possible. It's called learning. So come on, people. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some mercy. And we have a few comments, so I do want to go back. Marceline stated that Roxanne is right. Only is not seeming heartless, it's intentional, people. And I do agree. It's very intentional. Moya, she was speaking to Roxanne. We were all a part of Karaoke of the Bells, which is a play that we did last year before last. Oh, Nikki Demus and Moya, I forgot your name. I know that you were my mom. I think my name was Percy. All right, let's see here. Marceline stated, grace and mercy is a characteristic of real Christians. I too am hard on myself, but I've learned how to relax and modify and adjust without losing sight of purpose, dreams, and my vision. I'm gonna screenshot that, sis, on this phone. Oh, this is the old phone. Okay. because you just preach right there. You're preaching better than saying name. I'm going to read that again. Marceline stated, grace and mercy is a characteristic of real Christians. I too am hard on myself, but I've learned how to relax, modify, and adjust without losing sight of purpose, dreams, and my vision. And then Ms. Terry stated, remember the serenity prayer about controlling things I can't control and so on and so forth. And that is true. That is very important. Roxanne said, yeah, I need to give myself some more grace. Thanks for the reminder. And sometimes people, that's all that it takes. Just remind ourselves and really remember, we can't fix everything. We are not perfect. Give it to God. If that's the case, he would never have to have gone anywhere close to Calvary and endure the things that he did. So let's give ourselves some grace and mercy. Let's give some of the people in our lives some grace and some mercy. Let's give our bosses some grace and mercy. Let's give our friends some grace and mercy. But with that being said, I'm not saying be a fool. Don't be a fool. I am not saying that. I'm just saying, just realize that we're not perfect. And there's no need of us stressing out over things that are beyond our control. All right, so our third thing. And I know that this is something that's kind of random. I have some friends that are very, how can I say, very clean, very hygienic, if that's a word. And they wash everything. Like, you wash your dishes. I mean, well, of course you wash your dishes, but washing the groceries, you wipe off just everything that comes in the house. You sit groceries in the garage and don't bring the bags in. I mean, just like super, 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 super clean. And I used to like, oh, that's too much. Oh, that's fun. That's funny. Or that's just kind of crazy. However, since coronavirus and creeped up and trying to be in a relationship with us, I've kind of adopted some of those same habits. And I was drinking a soda the other day, and I was thinking like, you know what? This is really nasty. When you think, okay, we have a cup, we have this aluminum can here. And it's Sprite. Miss Verna, if you're watching this goes out to you because I remember your song. You made Sprite have a different taste, which is Sprite, Sprite, makes me feel right. Sprite, Sprite, makes me feel right down here. And I'm going to get Miss Verna on this show one day. We have actually talked about it, so I just have to pretty much arrange a day for it to come on. So we have this can, and this one has been open, but just think about it. When it's being in a factory, I mean, there are probably rats and stuff crawling all on it. When people put it in the grocery store, they're grabbing the top of it. It's been shipped. It's been in a vending machine. And what do most of us do? We grab it, and hands probably are not clean. Christina, I did not call any names, but that's my family too. I love y'all. All right, so you open it, probably with your unwashed hands, and then you take it and you put your mouth on it. You don't know what has touched the top of this can. You don't know who has touched the top of this can. And you put your mouth all over it. So I have a quick video that I'm going to share with you as it relates to that. But then also one other thing, like the little things on top of the sodas, you actually should bend these. And what people don't think, because I still would drink out of a can. I don't like it because you can't really see what's in it, but I will drink out of a can. But take your straw and put it right there in that little thing, and it holds the straw in place. And then I still would suggest you washing the top of your can, but that way you're not putting your mouth on top of a can. So this may be a bougie way of drinking a Coke or Sprite or soda. Okay, here's the video, and then if you guys want to talk about this a little bit, we can. We're almost done, people.
An ice cold can of seltzer or soda can be refreshing, we all know this, but could it also be crawling with germs? We wanted to uncover the dirty truth. In this scenario, we swabbed 3 different types of drinks: cola, diet cola, and citrus soda from 3 different locations: grocery store, vending machine, and a gas station. We just wanted to figure out, does the rim where you're drinking out of potentially harbor germs? So we sent these results off to ABC Labs to test them out. Are you all ready for the dirty truth?
Oh, as
Dirty.
Listen, I feel like this isn't going in a good direction. No disrespect. I'm not excited about these results.
Are you a can
I
cleaner?
am. I'm not. I do clean.
Do you ever rinse it out? Does anyone ever just rinse the can off under the faucet?
I use
Only,
soap.
only like if you look down at
I
it
do, I
and
use
it's
soap.
funky. Otherwise, if it's not.
Well, have you ever been mid-sip or halfway through a can, you look down, you're like, oh my God, what is that?
Yes.
It looks like poop or something else.
Oh, that's
Well, that's why we uncover the dirty truth here on The Doctors. So interestingly, the gas station reveal is that there was a bacteria that's commonly found in the soil and the environment, but otherwise it was clean. Boom, gas station, way to go.
all right.
Vending machine reveal. It was actually also clean. The same bacteria they found in the gas station cans, which is ubiquitous.
Wow.
Winning.
Clean.
Winning.
Cleanola.
Winning.
The grocery store.
Yes.
Here we go.
These cans actually grew some E. coli. So E. coli, we can find E. coli in things like feces. Now, E. coli also is all around us, and so I don't want to imply here that you're going to get sick from drinking out of a can. But it does highlight how you don't know where these cans have been, where they've been sitting, and if you want to be safe, you probably should if you notice, just rinse off the top
If
a
you don't
little
have
bit.
access to water, what if you were just, on the go?
I'm not as afraid of germs as a lot of people. I'm afraid of sick germs. If you're sick, I don't want your germs, but
So you're cool with
I mean, even a white.
You've been drinking it.
yeah, I'm never worried about
Well,
it.
it's true that anything that your mouth comes in contact with from the grocery store, we're talking fruit, vegetables, you should rinse them, wash them. We talk about that all the time. Add this to your list.
All righty, there you have it. And of course, one he mentioned about poop or something maybe being on top of the can. And just think about it. Sometimes sodas are in rat and roach infested areas, and those rats and roaches are just tap dancing. I'm talking about like Sammy Davis Jr. on top of those soda cans, and some people never wash them. They just put them up to the mouth, and you wonder why you don't feel so good after drinking that Sprite or Coke. They also mentioned, he stated that anything that you put your mouth on, you should wash it. I mean, fruit. Some people just grab fruit some people go to the grocery store and just eat fruit, talking about they're testing to see if it's sweet or if it's good. To me, that's just totally nasty, and in my opinion, you are stealing. However, that's just my opinion. But, I mean, it's not sanitary. So yes, wash them. Wash your vegetables. I don't care how fresh they are, if they're organic. Wash them. And I even wash my frozen vegetables because I don't know what they've done to them. And again, some may say it's not helping. That makes me feel better. And this is where I am now with the cleanliness thing. I'm going to do what makes me feel better, or what makes me feel safe, what makes me feel clean. And I'm sorry if it offends you, but this is just basically what I have to do for me. So I'm not trying to walk around being rude to people, make people feel nasty, but I have to do what I feel is safe for me because I'm responsible for me. It's my life. My parents and God gave this to me. I'm responsible for it. So that's that. And that's right. It's nasty. There are a lot of nasty people that are here. Terry Ann, thanks for joining in. It's been a minute. I've been missing you here on the Potluck. Miss Keith, also thank you so much. Summer, you're in here with me. Thank you so much. Tony Mays, what's up, classmate? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, so our next thing is, of course, unfortunately, we can't forget about it. It keeps happening over and over and over again here in America. The devaluing of the black life. Just recently, I'm going to pull this up. There was, I'll say a thug by the name of Kyle Rittenhouse. And this is an article that was posted about him. And here it reads, police arrested Kyle Rittenhouse, an optimistic police cadet whose social media accounts indicated an affinity for the Back the Blue movement. A 17-year-old aspiring cop has been charged with murder in Kennesaw. And as you can see on that, not one time did that sound like a murderer. They glamorized it. They talked about how he's an aspiring cop. I'm an aspiring millionaire, but that doesn't mean that I can go and try to write $1 million check. He's not a cop. A lot of their actions when they're murdering people for no reason is wrong, and it doesn't justify him. So you can see how the media attempted to basically glamorize these actions. And you can see that this was highlighted, calling him a thug. Calling him a thug. Calling him what he is. Calling him what you call us when we comment on the KTV Channel 7 post or something that may be posted. Y'all, those comments can be something treacherous. It helps me understand why 45 occupies the White House. It helps me understand why he did win Arkansas. I've seen some terrible things posted there. And then there's another picture of him walking really past the cops with one hand throwing something up, but another hand is on the gun. It said he's 17 crossing state lines with an assault weapon to shoot people one day after Trump's RNC celebrated that gun couple threatening Black Lives Matters protesters. And of course, what they're referring to, it was in St. Louis where the judges or whatever, they were outside with guns and pointing them at protesters. Yeah, so it glamorizes it. It makes it seem like it's okay. But if someone that looks like me, if they do it, I'm a thug. If I wear a hat, I'm a thug. If I express an opinion, I'm a thug. If I react to some wrongdoings, I'm a thug. And I hate to keep talking about it. Some people saying, can y'all just be quiet? Can you stop doing it? Then I'll be quiet. But until then, no, we can't. And we shouldn't. We should not. I realize that it's kind of dying down. But that's not okay. Now I'm going to go back to my comment section. Summer LeGrone stated, I have seen people in the grocery store pick up one item, put down another while digging in their nose, coughing, sneezing, getting underwear out of their butt. We must wash these items every time before use. I know someone during the virus that was eating grapes out of the bag in the store. I'm just outdone with the lack of people not wanting to be clean. And I definitely agree with that. Yeah, that was supposed to be a man of the cloth. Yeah. God's keeping you, but he also gives us some sense too. Marceline said that was a bullhorn calling for those monsters to attack. Right. He was saying, come and get me, but he knew they wouldn't. Roxanne said, I'm so sick of the media's racist double standards. Know that they are intentionally trying to start a race war. That's so correct, Marceline. Tucker Carlin sent out a bullhorn message to start shooting at groups while they protest. Wow. And that's right, Marceline, we won't be quiet. Terry, no, we will not stop. Roxanne said that the media often glamorizes racism and it's sickening. It's very sickening. Very sickly. And it keeps happening, and we cannot be quiet. This is not a fad. We cannot let people take over the Black Lives Matter movement. And if you don't want to associate with that, well, just focus on your life of people that look like you. And stop letting other people control the narrative, because it's still happening. It hasn't stopped. I didn't include this, but there's another young man who they're saying allegedly had a knife. And he was shot in the back 7 times, maybe paralyzed. Thank God he didn't die, but his quality of life has been altered. But yet and still, you have this little Rittenhouse boy with the gun basically saying, come on, and nothing happens. Why are you so scared? I'll never know. Because I should be scared of you. Look at your history and how violent it is. Alrighty, so I have a video that I'm going to share that kind of covers, not all, these are the ones that we know about. Here goes.
It was Freddie, Sam, Corey, Eric, Philando, Ahmad, Steven, Kenneth, Amadou, Jonathan, Christian, Terrace, Sean. Killed him a day before his wedding. Jamal killed him while he was in handcuffs. Mike killed him while he had his hands up. Kamani, Ramali, Phillip, Alton. About 3 Kevins, about 2 Jordans. John, Laquan, Bathon, Stefan, Tony, Tamir, Elijah, Antoine, Isel, Terrell, Dontre, Akai, George. For him, set the country on fire. Timothy, Patrick, Paul, Tyree, Quintonio, Darius, Jeremy, William, Anthony, Dante, Oscar, Kendrick, Keith, David, Walter, women like Sandra, Betty, Rihanna, India, Michelle, Tatiana, Tanisha, Rika, Natasha, Pamela, Shannon, Megan, baby Ayana. All that we lost, your name live on. Wasn't killed by a cop, but I can't forget Trayvon. Can't forget Emmett, and all of those we lost to the beast. No justice, no peace.
Alrighty, there you have it. Way too many. Way too many. And those are the ones that we know about. There are a lot that we don't even know about. While this was going, Marceline stated that this is not okay. This is a movement, not a moment. This is a movement, not a moment. Don't just jump on it because it's convenient and that's what everyone is saying. You have to stick with this. Again, this is a movement, not a moment. And Summer LeGrone stated that they always want to use the word thug for us, but we are finding out who the real thugs are. Thugs come in all colors, and that is so true. Roxanne stated, why is the KKK not considered a label as thugs? They may not label themselves as that, but that's exactly what they are. Marceline said, this is too much. They're saying they're afraid of black people. If black people is a lie, an excuse to murder black people. They're not afraid. It is just they're trying to use it as an excuse. And I'm so tired of it. And it keeps on going. And then they constantly poke the bear, but they only see the end result. They don't see what they did, but they only see the rioting and the looting that's taking place. They only seem to have willfully cataract eyes, or they have blinders on, only seeing the reaction or the response to what was done. And that's by design. But I'm over it, and we as Americans have to be over that as well. I saw on Facebook, and I found this to be kind of funny because it's relevant. 2020, I cannot talk today. 2020 has indeed been a year like no other. A lot of us were saying that we were want to see clearly in 2020. And I'm not saying that we're not. Because I think we are getting the opportunity to see what this world really is like. Sometimes people say, be careful what you pray for. But I think that that's very true. Because we are really seeing how people really are. We're seeing how much our jobs really care. We're seeing how much our so-called friends really are our friends. We're seeing how the love of money is the root of all evil. And notice I said the love of money is the root of all evil. We're seeing how much our cities and our states are all about themselves and they are driven by the economy. We are seeing, but it's not what we were expecting to see. And my question is, once you see what you see, and it has revealed itself, oh Lord, my lights blink, then what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that? After you see what you need to see. And what you see may not always be pretty. What you see may be the truth, and the truth hurts sometimes. So be mindful of that. And that's right. We have to vote. We have to vote. Go out. Call to see. Make sure that to see where your precinct may have moved, because they're moving some precincts and some people don't know. Call and validate, or go online to make sure that your registration is still valid. If, for some reason they may have, tried to do something to it. So that is important. Marceline stated that you can go to vote.org and check and make sure you are registered. Again, that's vote.org, vote.org. Victor, Ocean, Tom, Edward.org. Again, vote.org to check your registration. That is very important. Here's a little humor that I found. All right, it states here that 2020 should be a new cuss word. I don't give a 2020. Or you can go to 2020. And I just thought that was funny. Also, today, one of my friends shared a joke, if you will, and I thought that it was funny, so I'm going to share it with you guys. And before I do that, I will see. It says, "Warren, this is who they were at all the time. It is not left or right. It is all over, north, south, east, and west. This is who they've always been. We knew it. Now the world knows." And that's right. And they have shown themselves. And I really believe if you give a person long enough, they'll really reveal to you who they really are. I'm an actor. Like I tell people, I act on stage. Or I act, when I'm getting paid. And of course, sometimes living in this world, you have to, do a little acting. Sometimes act like you care when you really don't, so on and so forth. However, I know from an actor standpoint, acting is very draining because you are denying yourself to be someone else. You are denying yourself, which takes energy because you're having to do different gestures and movements and become someone else, think like someone else. And I would say this is a great actor who does all these things. And you get tired. People don't understand, like after a show, after doing a play or a film, you're tired. Actors are tired and exhausted. Why? Because they have denied themselves to become someone else. They have allowed themselves to live truthfully under imaginary circumstances. They have allowed themselves to see things that aren't even there. And the same thing applies to people in this world. They've been acting all these years. They've had us fooled all these years. And they're tired of acting now. And they feel like it's okay for them to show them who they really are. And you know what? Thank you for showing me who you really are. But there are certain things that you are not going to do. That's right. What T 2020 is going on? What the 2020 is going on? All right. And Marceline, again, has some great information in here. She said that if you voted at Newtown, they have closed that site. Also, I know, and she's referring to the voters in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Also, Old Morning Star Church in Packingtown has been used as a voting site, and it's my understanding that that has been moved. And I meant to find out where. I don't want to put out wrong information, but I think it has been moved on 6th Street, but I'm not 100% sure. So again, check. You can call your county election commissioner and see where you must go to vote. And you can do that now. Some people are doing paper ballots, and of course we know there's all type of things that are going on with that, but make sure you vote. Also, make sure you fill out your census. Simple, easy, be counted. Don't you want to be in that number? Not when the Saints go march. I want to be in that number too, but not just yet. But make sure that you fill out your census as well and vote. Alrighty, so we have here this joke that I thought was funny. It states that a guy walks into a bar and he says, "Let me get a Corona and 2 hurricanes." The bartender said, "That'll be 2020. That's funny to me. You get it? Coronavirus, COVID-19, which is a beer in real life, and then 2 hurricanes. That's a drink that PJ's Disco used to specialize in. That were really good. And of course, we have 2 hurricanes that are we have 2 hurricanes that are heading towards us. Laura is here, and Marco is on his way. You know what, Marceline? I will. That's very, very important. We'll do a show on voting, and I'll do the history, probably history of voting, and so on and so forth. That's actually all that I have. I'm looking in the comment section if you guys have something. She stated, vote early, vote early. I will do a show on this, just making sure that people know the importance of voting and about the polling sites and where to go, how to fill out your census, so on and so forth, because it is very necessary. Don't be fooled by people. What they say, your vote does count. It does count. Even though I know sometimes we're made to feel that way, that's a trick of the devil. Don't be tricked by that. So again, just to recap, we talked about the CDC. They're changing the rules by the day. They're changing it, by the second rather. Give yourself some personal grace and mercy. You're not perfect. You will mess up. Relax sometimes and simply do the best that you can. How you doing, Officer Eubanks? Thank you so much for tuning in. And last but not least, wash your soda cans off. Use a straw because as you've seen in the videos, it can be quite nasty. And remember that Black lives still matter. if you don't support that particular movement, just know that if you are a person of color, black, brown, whatever you want to identify as, just realize that your life matters. It matters and it's value, even though the world seems as if to show us that it's not. And I'm not saying other lives do not matter, but at this moment in this climate, it's targeted towards us. And that's all that I have. There's a wealth of information from Marceline as it relates. She said if you do not have to mail in your ballot, you can walk it up to the courthouse. You can contact Kamara Seals to be. Those are notes to me. Okay, and I can. Thank you so much for that. My big sister is making sure that she take care of me. So I will start working on that show. If not next week, it'll be the week after next, but definitely will be before November, and the earlier the better. So I probably need to move on that quite expeditiously. Yeah, that's one of them Pablo High School UAPB, whereas expeditiously. All right, people. That's all that I have. There is a lot of good information that's in the comment section. I'm gonna try to scroll up and see this the comment that my big sis left. I can't find. I know we were talking about the grace and mercy, and I can't find it right now. But that's nothing but the devil. But anyway, go back into the comments and you can read that. Oh, here it is. Man, look at God. He works in mysterious ways. Here's our closing for tonight, coming from Marceline Williams, and it states: grace and mercy is a characteristic of real Christians. I too am hard on myself, but I've learned how to relax, modify, and adjust without losing sight on purpose, dreams, and my vision. People, with that being said, I am Warren L. Booker Jr., the host of the Potluck Webcast. I thank you so much for tuning in, and I ask that you please be safe. I hope all of our lights stay on, and that we are productive. Mask up, protect yourself, clean, sanitize, value your life, give yourself some grace, give yourself some mercy. And until next week, I will see you. Have a great night. Bye-bye.